5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the new Panic Room. It's the show other shows want to be, and the show that authors want to be on.
I really can't stay.
But baby, it's cold outside.
I wanna go play.
But baby, it's cold outside.
Don't wanna stay in.
There's a storm moving.
The snow is nice.
I feel your hands, they're just like
Mother, don't start to worry.
Baby boy, what's your hurry?
Mom, why are you pacing the floor?
Listen to that fireplace
No,
roar.
really, I need to skirt.
Jake, please don't
Okay,
hurt.
just one hot chocolate more.
Put a movie on while I pour.
I wanna go out.
Baby, it's bad out there.
Nothing to worry about.
No, really, it's cold out there.
I wish I knew how.
I wish you'd listen to me.
To make you see.
At least take your hat. It's on the shelf.
So Mom, please don't say no, no,
the
no.
storm is getting closer.
What's the sense of starting a fight?
Couldn't worry more if I tried.
I really can't stay.
But baby, don't go out. Oh, but it's cold outside.
Come on, Mom. You gotta let go.
But baby, it's cold outside.
It's just a little snow.
No, really, it's cold outside.
Don't worry, I'll be
much better to just stay
so
in.
nice and warm.
Look out that window at that
My
storm.
friends will all be suspicious.
Don't these cookies look delicious?
Soon they will be there at the door.
We'll bring them all inside, we'll make small.
The teasing will be vicious.
Gosh, that sky looks suspicious.
Gotta stop blocking the door.
Never such a blizzard before.
So please let me go.
Jake, you'll freeze out there.
I'm wearing a coat.
It's up to your knees out there.
I'm almost 6 feet.
I'll make you something to
So
eat.
don't worry.
Why don't we just watch some TV?
The storm has knocked out the cable.
My mind would be unstable.
All my friends are waiting outside.
If you got pneumonia and died.
Just wanna play.
Baby, don't go out. Oh, but it's cold outside. Oh, but it's cold outside. Jake, it's really coming down out there. Can't you just stay in?
If I stay in, I'm just gonna play computer games.
Oh, no. You did enough of that today.
What am I supposed to be doing right now?
I could teach you how to use a vacuum cleaner. How about that?
Come on, Mom. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you. I made cookies.
I ate all the cookies.
You can't go outside.
Still want to though. I'm not a little baby anymore, Mom.
You're not?
No.
You'll always be my baby.
I love you, Mom.
I love you, baby.
The all-new Panic Room radio show is brought to you by hellboundbooks.com.
Well, hopefully I am back. I apologies for that. A bit of a technical glitch at in technical terms. So hopefully you can hear me. If not, I'm just going to talk to myself for another hour and a half. So yeah. So hopefully that's all sorted, and we are back. And yeah, that was Roy Orbison, one of my all-time favourites of all time. And before that was the controversial Baby It's Cold Outside, which I just wanted to play just for controversy's sake, really, and a big Yahoo sucks due for it. It's all these pussy radio stations that are banning it because apparently it's supposed to be a little bit rapey. But hey, and as I was saying, we played the banjos, obviously. Sadly, Xtina can't be with us this evening. She's not well, so get well soon, Xtina, and thoughts and prayers. So everybody send her thoughts and prayers, because that helps. Not really. Not really. But I'll tell you what I am going to do. And because she's not here and I can get away with it, I'm going to play my own fan first. So here we go. Well, I was certainly standing for that one, and I think I'm. Actually, this should be a cheer after that one, actually, because it's. I think it's worthy of a cheer. Normally, Xtina's here to stop me pressing all these buttons, but she's not, so I'm just going to see how many I can press in one show. But this is normally the time of the show when we ask the question.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And indeed, what is new, pussycat? Well, Jim, I'm glad you asked. It's just me, really. It's not just two of me in this show. It's just me. But yeah, what is new? We had a whole batch of new titles out last week, and we've got a couple of spanking brand new, stonking great books out. Tomorrow we have probably one of my favourite anthologies of all time, which is Made in Britain. Bit of a theme tonight, Made in Britain, which is a anthology by British authors, only Brits, which is terrific. And we've got what a hell of a lineup in the Made in Britain anthology, available on Kindle and paperback and whatnot. It's actually on pre-order. You can order it and get it downloaded to your Kindle for midnight tonight if you're really that desperate to read it straight away. We have Guyan Smith in there, who is an absolute hero of mine. David Owain Hughes, Lex H. Jones, Kevin Kennedy, me. I'm in it. How could I not be? Obviously, you know, the most famous Brit in Texas. I like to feel. But yeah, it's a good one. It's a good. So if you're listening to the show, buy the book mostly. And the other one that is out tomorrow, and this is how it's all wonderfully linked, is called Twerk, and it's by an L-bound author of extraordinaire, Isobel Blackthorn, and it is a terrific, dark, psychological sort of suspense thriller, set against the seedy backdrop of the Las Vegas strip club scene, and it is pretty awesome. And by means of a very, very incredibly clumsy segue, we hopefully have Isobel on the phone. How smooth?
Okay,
how smooth was that? Yes, and speaking of Antipodean authoresses, here's Isobel. So, Isobel, thank you so much for joining us from. So, I understand. I mean, obviously, you're calling from Australia, so I understand with the time differences, it's actually sort of like July in Australia right now, yeah?
Where I am, not quite July, although it feels like you're July because it's about 36 degrees Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit? It's about 98.
It's up there. Well, do you know, it's when you I got your message when you said it was 36. That's cold because obviously everything's in Fahrenheit here because just because it is, and I thought just 36 is damn. It's damn cold over here. I mean, we've been sort of in the 40s and 50s here in Houston, and that's cold. That is cold for Houston. It's funny back in England, back in Yorkshire. You know, if it's in the 70s, it's people are in the shorts and t-shirts. It's funny, but here, literally, unless it's in the 90s, they have the hats and coats on. You know, they send the kid off to school without 6 coats on, and they look at you like a bad parent because it's 74. Well, yeah, we'd be sat on the beach in Britain, with our trouser legs rolled up and a knotted hanky on our head and some winkles perhaps, maybe some winkles.
Definitely. And also in Tasmania as well. I lived in Tasmania for a couple of years. And, in the summer, it would be, conversion, 15 degrees. Yeah, you're talking about the low 70s. And, people would be out with their swimmers on the beach and getting hideously sunburnt as well, because the sun is really strong, even if the air is cold in Australia. And, but today we're having a bit of a heat wave, another one. We're always having heat waves in Australia. It is summer. What can I say? To be expected. And it's currently nearly 3 o'clock, 2:49 in the afternoon. And apparently a cool change is about to come through, which I think I'll be very happy about, actually. Yeah. But incidentally, James, I was made in Britain.
Yes, I know. Yes, you were. Do you know? And you still have a little bit of a British accent. So you, by the sound of it, you were sort of southern England somewhere.
London.
London.
I'm a Londoner.
Oh, you're in the posh end. In the posh end.
My dad.
I was raised up north, with whippets and pigeons and outside toilets and whatnot.
My dad was born in the East End of London. He's a Cockney, and he was part of the pre-war slum clearance, moved out to Southeast London. So, yeah, I'm very much, particularly my dad's side of the family, we're Cockneys.
Well, okay, in honour of your dad, in honour of your dad, I'm going to play this. And anybody listening from Britain or anybody who watches that dreadful show on BBC America will understand. I remember when they...
It's totally addictive, James.
Do you know, I used to watch... I used to be addicted to soaps back in the day, and I even used to watch the Australian soaps, funnily enough, like Neighbours and Sons and Daughters and all that, many, many years ago, which I think are probably still going. But yeah, I mean, Coronation Street, I mean, EastEnders, which is that one, and they are so easy to get addicted to. And then they started putting them on like six nights a week, and your whole life was just taken up with these soap operas. I don't watch any of them now. I don't watch any of them. The
Omnibus edition on Sunday afternoon, for those people who happen to miss an episode in the week, absolutely amazing. And you get totally sucked in. I don't watch them. I don't have time. We're too busy writing. We don't have time for soaps.
Well, yeah, I mean, I used to find, I mean, they used to be on, first, once a week, twice a week, whatever. I used to, back in the days of the video recorders, I used to video them. And I'd find, just how I'd, get to the end of the week, this is before they used to do an omnibus. And I get to the end of the week, and I'd be taping over episodes from the previous week I've not seen yet, and it just got ridiculous, So I don't, I can just about commit to like a 6-part mini-series, and that's about it for me. But no, I'm with you. I mean, it's funny about I enjoy writing, I enjoy everything I do, but for me, and I've said this before, I mean, TV is my brain in neutral switch off time, and I need it. It's either that or drink, 16 pints of lager every night. And I can just flick, because my brain. I mean, I think a lot of creative people, a lot of writers I know, you need something, because your brain is churning constantly. But for me, and it doesn't matter what it is. It can be Animal Planet, it can be a good drama, it could be a movie, it could be SpongeBob, it doesn't matter. And I will just suddenly zone out, and suddenly my brain's in neutral, and it's great, it's peace. It's peace. They say you're not supposed to watch. I say that you're not supposed to watch TV before bed because it stimulates your brain, but it's the opposite for me. It's great. Yeah, I'll sit and watch TV in bed until I go to sleep, and that's what gets me to sleep. So.
It's a mental anesthetic. That's what I think. And I typically, I don't know, half an hour into whatever I'm watching, and that's it. I wake up like 10 minutes before the credits start rolling, and I think, if I really wanted to watch it, I have to watch it again. But invariably, I zone out at that same point, and I end up missing the same chunk. It's so frustrating. If I try to watch a movie, like a 2-hour movie, I tend to watch it in, like you're saying, like half-hour chunks. It's like watching a series for me. And even watching a series, I sat and watched The Haunting of Hill House, which was awesome, by the way. And I start, like you say, about half an hour in, I'm nodding off. So I now watch things in half-hour bits. Which it means I can, a mini-series like that, I can span out into weeks, which is good. Yeah. So, Isobel, it's been a while since you were on the show last. It's think about a year.
Yeah, I think the Legacy of Gold Grand Parks had just come out, or just about to come out at that time, and now here we are with something that is so completely different from Cabin Sessions, from the Legacy of Gold Grand Parks, that it's hard to believe it's by the same author. So, I mean, I've interested. Twerk, tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, what a story. I can hardly believe I've written this. I just proved to myself what I'm capable of, really. And it started in 2015. That's how long. This is when it began. And I took a few notes well, first of all, I should say that one of my daughters is Australia's highest profile dancer or stripper. And she was the one that gave me the heads up about what it's like to work behind the scenes, blow by blow, And one day, I in 2015, I sat her down and said, so talk me through a lap dance. And,
awesome.
I'm one of the... Yeah, and she did.
Well, to be fair, Isobel, if you'd wanted that, I could have talked you through a lap dance, no problem.
Well, I didn't know you then, James. I didn't know you then.
I heard about them from friends.
No, but that's second. That's second-hand. I wanted it from the horse's mouth. Anyway. And, and from her perspective, not yours, not the guy's. I want the woman's perspective. And anyway, I never said it could have been from my perspective. To be honest, I
maybe I'm a lap dancer in my spare time. You don't know. You see, you're jumping to conclusions now.
I don't know. You could be a twerker. I really don't know, James. I think we have talked about this before, and you were quite tight-lipped, quite cagey, actually, I have to say. You were cagey about it. So I still don't know if you can twerk.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
You're not going to say it on. I understand. We won't.
So I tell you what is scary. Actually, my 9-year-old daughter can twerk, and scary. Wow. She is actually quite good at it. I don't know where she's learned it from, but her mother despairs. I mean, it's just like, oh, yeah. And of course, it's my fault. So I sure as hell didn't teach her that.
But Nicki Minaj, I mean, they just watch music videos and practice. That's all.
Oh yeah. I think Miley Cyrus made it sort of popular. So maybe I should have more of a handle on what my daughter's watching, but whatever.
Well, I took the lap dancing's a little different, and I took the information and I created a little piece of something. I didn't know what it was. And I thought, what am I going to do with this? I want to write a novel. This is a bit like short, 500 words, not going anywhere. I didn't have any inspiration, so I set it aside. And a year later, I thought, well, hang on a minute. Here's 500 words. That's flash fiction, so I submitted it. And it got picked up by 2 little literary journals in the UK. In fact, it was funny because one offered to publish it, and then the other one just published it without telling me. And I had to go to the first one and say, "Oops, sorry. Do you want something different?" And anyway, still sort of left it sitting there because every time I tried to develop a plot out of that lap dance, I just couldn't get anywhere with it. Like, I don't know what it was. I just had writer's block. Years went by. And then I met you, James, actually, have to say. And by then I'd got a lot of more knowledge about what it was like to work in a club. And I had these various ideas. But I think it was when I decided that the guy having the lap dance dies. I think that initial setup was critical. And this is all part of the prologue. It's not a spoiler.
I have to say, it's a terrific start to the book. It's just one of those. As a guy, it's how a lot of us would want to go, to be honest. But it's just the juxtaposition between the environment and the guy. Plus, again, without spoiling the story, the way it unfolds, the guy, dying. It's just like, it absolutely inspired opening, I have to say. Bless him, poor chap. But he died with a smile on his face and a tent in his trouser.
Yes. But the interesting thing, I made that up. It's all made up. And but my daughter recently told me that a guy in a town near Melbourne, in a strip club, actually did die while having a lap dance. He died of a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine. I can imagine it happens more than you think, because you again think of the environment, and you've got the obese, unfit businessmen and what have you, and suddenly the heart rate's gone up, and I bet it happens a fair bit actually.
Yeah, it probably does. Poor guy. Mm-hmm. But as you say,
I'll tell you, of all the ways to go, I can think of a lot worse ways to die than surrounded by beautiful half-naked women. To be honest,
Well, you're right. You're right. Horror. You're a horror publisher. I'm sure you can come up with multiple deaths. We're in the business of creating gruesome endings, I think. Yeah. And oddly with twerk, it was very intimate, creating twerk, because obviously I spoke to you about it. You had considerable input in the creation of the final story that I came up with, and so did my mother, bless her. My mother came up with some crucial sort of starting points for the plot, really crucial settings. Now, I have to be careful what I say because, you know, I really don't like spoilers, but yeah, she was...
Oh, no,
really...
do not spoil it, because it's a difficult one to discuss without spoiling it, because it's one of these stories. Again, a little bit about the Yami. You actually came to me when this was pretty much a twinkle in your eye. It was just the idea, and you developed that. But again, it's one having, obviously, knowing it well, having read it several times throughout the process. It's difficult to discuss it without actually spoiling it, because you've got all these little bits that all fall into place. So you do your best.
Well, you know,
off you go.
My mum helped me. Well, I can say the paramedic, because he's straight away in chapter 1.
Well, he's mentioned on the back cover as well, so it's okay to mention the paramedic.
Cover. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and he, you know, he was a product of my imagination and my mum's imagination, bless her. And also, oddly, I was tutoring, and this is what's fascinating about writing is the way that things all come together, different parts of your life all feed into your story. And one of my students I was tutoring, his great ambition is to be a paramedic, and he, you know, is at university now studying to be a paramedic. And so I actually consulted him on a number of matters, uniform and different things, you know, different procedures and so on. And yeah, I think originally he wasn't necessarily going to be, he could have been anything, he could have been a doctor, because he's the one that comes and deals with the death of the guy who dies having a lap dance. Someone's got to come in and deal with the death. And who was it going to be? And yeah, so that was it. There he was, an invention. And the imagination just takes off from there. You know, you just run with what you've got. And the characters evolve and they go in different directions. And I don't know, you just end up running with it, really. I had a lot of fun writing it.
I think it's one of the. I mean, again, anybody who writes, you get to that point where, the characters suddenly take on a life of their own, and it just sometimes it will just wander off in its own direction. The story and the characters suddenly are not originally who you originally thought they were going to be, that's the best kind of story. Because certainly, as it's unfolding as you're writing it, I think it makes for, for a damn good read. Because it's almost, certainly the first time you go through it, you don't know what's coming next. But it's and there's a lot of writers will write to a very, very strict plan. I tend to have sort of at least a loose plan, but I like to let it develop organically, and I think with Twerk that's what's happened, and it's got a bit of it's for me, it's sort of evocative of something like The Silence of the Lambs, so much it's not horror, it's horrific. Does that make sense? I mean, for me, horror is your monsters and all that sort of thing, horror. But this is horrific with what happens, and there's obviously a lot of psychology in it, and it's incredibly tense, and a little bit steamy as well. There's obviously the romantic element, the romance element, and there's a lot of steam. I mean, how do you find? Do you enjoy writing the steamy bits, or you sit there sort of blushing at your typewriter? They don't come. They're not difficult to write. They're difficult to write well. Mm-hmm. I did a bit of research. I looked around. I was inspired by Bonnie Bennett and Pepper Winters, and I had a CJ, old CJ as well.
and CJ, and I just read little excerpts, and I thought, okay, so this is the vibe I'm going for. I think I can manage. I think I can manage that, and I, just gave it a go, and then you just keep working on it, you just keep polishing it. It's about poise. I think sex scenes are all about poise.
I like a bit of smut, I have to say. I do like a bit of smut with my horror, and it's the two seem to go very well together, I think. And it's funny. I mean, I remember when I first. In fact, a little bit of backstory to me. I remember because I've always written from being very, very young, and I remember writing my first ever sex scene when I was still a virgin. And it was just it would be. I wish I'd kept that. It would be interesting to read that back now because obviously did not have a clue then. But I think I speak to writers now who are still embarrassed by it. They have to write a sex scene and they get all knotted up and upset and worried about it. And for me, just write it as you would write any other scene.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly okay about it. I don't know. I don't seem to have a problem with it. I find writing the biggest challenge for me is actually writing the good horror scene. When the horror is unfolding, the attention to detail, and as you put in the trigger words, you want to evoke shock the reader. You want the reader to cringe and curl and screw up their face and oh God, and that takes a lot of skill. That it's a whole skill set that I'm still learning all of that, and each style of writing requires something different from the author. And they're all good things to practice, to learn how to do. I think it's not so much the technical. The reason why people don't like writing sex scenes, it's not a technical thing. It's a prudish thing. It's a reluctance to people want to be private. They don't want all those.
Well, I think that's where certainly as writers we develop. You learn to disassociate. I mean, obviously there is always, we said before, Isobel. There's always in everything we write. There's always a bit of ourselves in there. But I think you need to look at it the other way. You can put that realism in, and you don't have to be. Same with horror, the horror scenes. You don't have to be, detail every grisly little bit. Same with the sex scenes. You don't have to be gynecological about it. It's about using the right trigger words and planting that, getting the reader's imagination working on that. That's the key to it. We get submissions. I've written a horror story, and it just goes into detail upon detail, about the gory bits, when really you could sum that up and be, a million times more effective with a couple of well-chosen lines. And I think that's part of evolving as a writer. I mean, my first attempts were that. I remember many years ago, I writing my first couple of novels, which will never see the light of day. And I used to love writing the gory bits. That was like the bit, and then the bits in between were just like, nah. Now it's the bits in between that I live for. The developing the characters and the dialogue and the whole story, building the world. That's what I really enjoy. I mean, I still enjoy the gory bit. I mean, anybody who's read any of my stuff, it's just brutal. I don't pull punches. I do not pull punches, and you should never self-censor. I think anyone who's a true artist should never self-censor, because that's what being an artist is about.
I have read 2 of your novels, James, and I do believe that in enormous artistry in your writing. You're terrific. If I may say that on air. If I may say that on air, I'm really.
Yes, you may. Please, you can. you do praise me. I that's great. I mean, which two have you read? Just a matter of interest.
Well, I've read the Colton Forche one.
Oh, Colton Forche, yeah.
Of Colton Forche. Fantastic. And I loved his dog. What was his name? Greg, was it?
Eric.
His dog? Eric.
The dog was Eric, which is a nod to Monty Python, obviously.
That's right. Sorry, Greg was just an ex-husband. Sorry.
Oh, fair enough.
And the other one was And Then You Die. Oh, that
right,
was
yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that corporate woman, and just what you did with the poop.
You know, I'm surprised. I am surprised it got published. It was just J. Ashton Ellington actually published that one, and B, I'm surprised it's actually allowed on Amazon because it is. I mean, both of those were written for the bizarro horror market. You know, you should read one of my sort of mainstream ones. Read, you know, Tenebrian or Pede to get some balance. But they were written to be extreme and very tongue-in-cheek, very darkly comedic. But yeah, you said, I mean, the attention to detail in both of those is quite extraordinary. and certainly, And Then You Die is just, it's very sort of corporaphilic, which is, it was fun to write. I'm a big fan of poop and toilets and whatnot. Anybody who listens to the show regularly will know that. But it was fun because it was poo. And everybody likes poo. It's fun. Poo is fun, I have to say.
Although I used the poo euphemism in my review, and it was the first one that Amazon took their time over whether or not they were going to permit my review to be there. And that's because I used the euphemisms for poo. Naughty me. Now I know. You have to be very careful what you say. But anyway, I just love a lovely introduction to Bizarro. Never really read Bizarro before that I can recall, and I just love that where horror shades into comedy. I love that space. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's really.
Yeah. I like to think of it as, you know, if Monty Python were writing horror, that's what you'd get.
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that.
Well, look, hey, it's time for a break already. So we're going to have a break. So we'll be back in. Don't go away. Isobel, you go get yourself a bottle of wine. Oh, sorry, that's Xtina, isn't it? I'm going to go and top up my water and empty out the water already drunk. So we will be right back.
Panic Room Radio Show is sponsored by Hellbound Books, purveyors of all manner of dark fiction. You can find the publisher along with links to all their available works across platforms at hellboundbookspublishing.com. Hellbound Books is proud to be the first in the indie publishing business with their very own app on both Google Play and the App Store. In the mood for something steamy to read, check out new erotica author Jennifer Lynn's website at jenniferlynnerotica.com. You can find James at his website, www.jameslongmore.com, and Xtina has an author page found on the Hellbound website. Don't forget to follow the Panic Room Radio Show on social media. Our Facebook page, Unofficial The Panic Room Radio Show, Twitter at Panic Room Radio, our YouTube channel, The New Panic Room Radio Show, and come visit our website at www.panicroomradio.com.
to part 2.
Well, that was Simple Minds and Don't You not from the Breakfast Club. It's featured in the Breakfast Club, which was a good film. Actually, I only saw it quite recently because it was on a list of films I thought I really ought to see, and it was really good. Back in the days when they used to write decent movies, but not so much anymore, rather sadly. But hey, I am here. So it is the New Panic Room still. I am here with Isobel Blackthorn, authoress of Twerk and the Cabin Sessions and the Legacy of Old Grand Parks and a few others that are not published with Hellbound. So, so Isobel. Welcome back. No, I'm not being fair. No, you if you'd like to name check your other secondary titles, then off you go. Please do.
Oh, no, there's just so many out there at the moment.
Just forget it then. No, forget it. Don't bother.
Forget it then. People can find me online and look them up if they want to.
You are quite prolific. You're quite prolific. So before we go, you obviously will dish out your web address and etc. But for now, I'm excited for a bit of a reading. You're going to be reading from the prologue of Twerk, correct?
Yes, I thought that would be the best.
That would be brilliant. So, hey, if you're ready, off you go.
I am ready, so here I will. Okay.
Good.
Twerk.
You do that.
Thank you. Paco Rabanne. She leans back against the pole, hard metal cold on her skin. Yeah, Paco Rabanne. She poses, pirouette style, in her high heels and skimpy lingerie. Or Hermione, maybe. She isn't sure. Whatever it is, the douche in the Tom Ford suit must have taken a bath in it. She slides her butt down, nice and slow for him, pictures his face. Holding the squat, legs splayed, she marks time with the music. 1, 2, 3, and pushes upright. Warrants Janie Lane whoops the backbeat. Cherry pie, sweet. It's like Muzak in a shopping mall. She's sure she heard it in Walmart the other week. She tilts her hips, eyes the guy in the chair, now with a noticeable bulge in his Tom Ford suit. She arches her back, rolls her pelvis forward, undulates her belly, and lets the movement flow up her lithe body. The guy with the suit bulge stares. It's a zombie stare, not a talker then. A steady bass throbs through the space, making the air swell and contract. She sways effortlessly to the beat, snaps off her bra and gives the slow reveal, putting on her best lip-parted pout. His hands grip the armrests exactly where she'd left them. No touching, she'd told him. He would obey. His whiskey glass, mobile billfold and keys are on a small table beside him. He's boosted. They are almost always boosted. Yet he's nervous and guilty with it too. Wears his guilt in fat band of gold wrapped around his ring finger. There's gold all about him, fingers, wrists, neck. Probably in his teeth, she'd hazard a guess. What's his name? Could be a Gary, or a Larry, or a Harry, but it's Frank. Yeah, Frank. Good old Frank. She takes a step forward, slips off her G-string, lets it fall. He ogles her flesh. She really doesn't care. She really doesn't care about zombie Frank all fancied up in his expensive Tom Ford suit. She's indifferent to his heat, to his stink, to his gold-ringed finger, to his vulgar and obvious crotch bulge. The song ends. The next, beginning on its tail, Bruno Mars, That's What I Like, as if Swanky Frankie was ever going to get it. She wonders what Amy in the next booth is up to with her douchebag Billy. Another forward step in her high heels, and she kneels on the chair, hooking her feet on the insides of his thighs to press them open. No closure, no contact. As she gyrates her pelvis, as she teases, as she strokes at the air down there between her thighs and his. She goes in close, breathes in his ear, and takes a peek at a watch. Its huge silvery face as large as her wrist, its distinct numbering illuminated in the dim light of the booth. 3. She leans away from Frankenbulge, arches her back, grasps her sweat-dampened breasts and rubs them against his cheeks. She thinks she still has half a protein bar out the back. Maybe some of last night's stir-fry. Or did she finish that earlier? The song pushes on. Her pelvis grinds to the rhythm. She leans forward, rests her arm against the cold brick wall behind him, sinks her flesh into his face, ignoring the hungry lips, the scratch of stubble. Swanky Frankie lets out a slow, throaty moan. She parts the velvet curtain, goes into the next booth. Amy's on her guy. They exchange eye rolls and a grin. She lets the curtain fall, lets her mind drip. The song seems far too long. Her butt, locked in the stomping groove, starts complaining. She feels a cramp in her instep. She eases her body back and pushes off of Frank's. He grabs her waist with his hot, damp hands and pulls her down. She swings around, backhands his face. He's stung. She steps forward, grabs the pole, twirls round slowly again. As Bruno Mars approaches his sudden end, she turns from the guy, Swanky Frankenbulge, and sits down in its lap. She leans against him, feels the hard of his pencil dick up against her butt, his breath hot on her bare shoulder. She throws her head back, grabs hold of her breasts, and puts on a show of faked self-pleasure. He releases a slow, rumbling groan. She thinks he sounds like a bloated frog, feels her laughter rise. He's satisfied. She slides off him, peeks into the other booth. Amy's still on hers. She's grinding the air above his crotch, her head thrown back in fake ecstasy. He should be in ecstasy too, but his body just jerks in short, twitchy spasms. That's no orgasm. He's convulsing. Does Amy even know? There's white foam leaking from the corners of her guy's mouth. His eyes stare straight ahead, bulging like they're being squeezed out of him from the inside. Amy tilts her head forward for effect and locks her gaze with his. First belief. Then her mouth falls open. She emits a curdling scream. She's off him like the devil himself is on her ass. There you go.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Hopefully, I'm a little less robot-y now, but that was great. I mean, it starts off sort of sexy, and then you've got that nice, unpleasant bit. And what I like about that is how you get into the dancer's head. She's just thinking of anything but really. The snack bar. It's like, did I finish that snack bar? It's just that detachment that they have is pretty awesome.
It really is. Like, one of the things that I do make a reasonably big thing about in twerk is the different realities between being on the floor and being in the change room, and what is going through dancers' minds through the night. Of course, I'm not going to claim to be an expert. Heavens, no. And this is only one portrayal of an imaginary club in Las Vegas. I just wanted to give one perspective at least. And one of the dancers is a law student, and it's not unusual to have law university students and single moms and people putting themselves through uni one way or another, real estate agents, hairdressers, you name it. And then there'll be party girls, women who just want to get drunk and, party.
Yeah.
And there are dancers who love the lifestyle. They absolutely love
Well,
the
I
kind
think one of the things I enjoyed as well was the bitchiness, behind the scenes and in the changing room. It's just sort of, anywhere you get a bunch, well, not just girls, anyway, you get a bunch of people, and you have the cliques and the bitchiness and the dirt and all that, and it was all there, and I enjoyed that, as much as the drama and the suspense part. Just that, every day it could have been, it could have been a factory, it could have been a grocery store, anyway, just that bitchiness, and we don't like her and we don't talk to them because she's her friend. I many years ago, I once worked, used to work in newspaper advertising, oddly enough, and I was it was a small sort of provincial, one of these free newspapers, and I was in an office, I think it was 5 women. And I was only pretty much fresh out of uni myself, and gee, I tell you something, I learned a thing or two. It was shocking. It was shocking. Some of the stuff they were going on, it was like, what? Excuse me? Had it been had I been a young woman of whatever, 22, 23, in an office full of men with that kind of banter, these days I could have sued for millions. But it's nice. Yeah. I mean, the book does capture that, which is neat, because it gives a nice background to, again, spoiler alert, to the unpleasant things that are going on with one particular character. But yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to ask. I mean, did you enjoy writing it, or did you find was it fairly traumatic for you because of some very unpleasant goings on? Obviously, it's a scene that your daughter is involved in. Did that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, perhaps?
Yeah, that actually, although she provided me with most of the research material, and I did, I've tried to get it right. I mean, I know that all clubs are different, and maybe, a dancer would say, oh, no, that wouldn't happen, or it doesn't happen like that, or whatever. But I did my best, and but that made it hard. My desire to portray my daughter's job made it hard to write, because it was so close to me, and yet it wasn't me. I had to be a 20-something-year-old. In fact, I had to be 2 20-something-year-olds. And that was quite challenging. Oddly, there is a bad person, obviously, in the story. It was easy. That part of it was easy. I don't know what it is. I find it. I had this with the cabin sessions, and with Grant Parks, where they were all horrible. And I found it. Really easy to.
I was going to say, I think out of those 3 that I'm familiar with your work, it's probably closer to the cabin sessions, because that's a very deeply, darkly psychological book as well. I mean, Grant Parks is probably more. It's got more dark humour to it. Cabin sessions doesn't. Yeah. Cabin sessions really. You really get into the heads of the characters, and there's some dark goings on. And I think Twerk really is a natural progression from there.
Yes, I think so. I think with the cabin sessions, because I wrote it, I didn't really understand the impact it would have on a reader until I listened to the audio version. I had to listen, to make sure there was no mistakes. The narration was just flawless, incredible, such quality. But I sat there on my couch knitting while I listened.
Knitting.
No, I know.
Rock and roll, Isobel.
I know. I love it. I remind myself of those grannies that do the 1-900 numbers, the sex lines.
Yeah.
And there's a comedy.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
There's 3 grannies sitting in a room knitting jumpers, and they're all on the phone.
Yeah.
And they're earning they're earning money doing that dirty talking stuff. And it's just a comedy skit. I'm sure if you Googled it, it'll come up on YouTube. It's very funny. And I feel like that, I think, oh, my goodness, here I am, just this regular middle-aged woman knitting her jumpers. I don't do a lot of knitting. But anyway, while I was listening to the cabin sessions, that's when I went, wow, this is so intense. Really very intense. The audio version, hearing it rather than reading it, works beautifully. Really, really good. I don't know, she just brought my words to life. I was so proud.
Yeah, well, that's what that's what they're supposed to do. But yeah, it is the narrator on that one. On all the audiobooks that we do, there's a growing number now, and it does it adds a whole new dimension to the book, And I've never sat and listened to an audio. I do prefer to read or watch TV. For me, listening it's like music. I can't just sit and listen to music. I have to be. It's background. I have to be doing something. But I'm going to have to make an effort and do some listening.
Well, what I discovered, because there's such a lot of interior sort of monologue in the cabin sessions, people, they're all their inner thoughts going on and on and on about all the other characters. It came across really well in narration. It came across like a play, where somebody would be giving a big long speech in a play. And I thought, wow, that was just a credit to the narrator, Kirsten Price. Amazing, yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant, yeah.
I'd love to see what someone managed to do with twerk.
Well, it will be on the cards. I mean, now it's officially launched tomorrow. That will be the next phase. Is to get it committed to audio. It'd be nice to approach Kirsten again and see if she'd be interested, because she did such a cracking job on cabin sessions. But we shall see. Either way, twerk will be, and then hopefully one day we'll be able to go see it at the movie theatre. That'd be brilliant. I think it would make a phenomenal film. It would be like a cross between Showgirls and Silence of the Lambs. It'd be like, that would be brilliant. That would be brilliant. I would enjoy that. But,
who would direct that? Who would direct that movie? That would be just quite astonishing to see.
Yeah. That would be good. So, hey, I tell you what, here's what we're good, because Xtina, she gets all the good bits of the show, and I don't. But would you like to do 11 questions? I think we did it last time, but it's a whole different batch of questions now. So, would you like to do 11 questions with me?
You can't. We can try them. I failed last time.
Yeah, but it's because Xtina is very judgmental. If you give the wrong answer, she will judge you. But I don't. I'm a very live and let live kind of guy, So let's do 11 questions. Here we go.
And now, 11 questions.
Right, okay. I just like that. I just like the little intro there. Okay. The first question is, what is the best or the worst movie you've ever seen?
Lake Dread. That's simple.
Say again?
Lake Dread. It's called Lake Dread. You've got to watch it.
Right.
It's got a Wikipedia page. It is horror like you've never seen it before. It is so bad. I think there's a cult around it.
I will. Is it one of those it's so bad it's good sort of films?
Yeah, kind of. I'm not quite sure. You have to watch it and pass judgment. The new one for you there, James.
Yeah, when I sleep through it, yeah. Okay, what was the first grown-up horror novel you read?
Oh my wordy, Dracula.
What, as in
Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Awesome.
Yes,
I remember reading that when I was probably 12, 13, and it's heavy going. You know, with obviously the Gothic style. It was. I ploughed through it. It was heavy going, but you know, I'm glad I read it. He said. Okay, what is your favourite cuss word?
My favourite what word?
Cuss word, swear word. Sorry.
Oh, damn.
No, it's not a real swear word. No, it's not a real one. It's not a real one.
I'm not allowed to swear on air. Mum won't let me swear on air.
But no, I won't make. Oh, it's fuck. Yeah, that is a favourite. That is a favourite on the show, I have to say. Okay, next question. You're doing well so far. What would be the worst way you can imagine yourself dying?
Oh no, burning alive, or drinking strychnine poison.
Strychnine's unpleasant. Yeah, it's funny that for me it's drowning. I mean, I wouldn't want to burn to death either, but drowning, and there's almost like a 50-50 split between drowning and burning, which is kind of because obviously the two would cancel each other out, which is kind of neat when you think about it. But here we go. What was your very, very first pet?
Oh, Milton, my dog. I called him Milton.
What a great name for a dog. I love that. And what sort of dog was he? What was he? Was he a dingo or something?
No.
What?
No. This was in London. He was a bit, a bit of this and a bit of that. He had Whippet in him. He had a bit of Whippet and maybe a bit of Labrador. He was a cute little boy, and he never cocked his leg ever. Apparently, Whippets don't. And he was quite excitable. Randy, really. He was quite randy. Yeah.
Randy.
That was the problem. No, that was the problem, James. That was the problem when my cousins came to visit, and he took a liking to one of them, one little boy. And that was embarrassing because my aunt is, you know.
Moving on. Who is your biggest influence, either in writing or in life generally?
I would have to. Well, in life generally, that would be quite difficult to answer. But in writing, Ian Banks, without a doubt. I started reading. He's a Scottish author, and I don't know whether he's very known in America. I don't know. But I know he's got a huge following, and he wrote kind of gothic, very dark, quite controversial books, and sci-fi too, very imaginative.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Obviously, I'm not from here, but yeah.
Well, obviously you don't get a lot of time, but it's worth plugging his first novel, The Wasp Factory, which came out in the mid-1980s. And, you know, if you like horror, gothic fiction, you really, really would like this book. Yeah, I won't say too much about it, but it proved to me, you know, very, very influential in terms of my writing style and inspiring me and the sorts of plots that I throw together. Yeah,
awesome.
Ian Banks is my hero.
Ian Banks. I've heard the name. I don't think I've read any of his, but I will make an effort. Next question. If you were God for a day, what would you do?
If I was God for a day, only a day? Oh, there's so much. I would move myself to multiple places.
You would what?
So I could be. I want to be in multiple places all at once. That's a very
God
thing
can do
say.
that. He's omnipotent. Yeah, there you go. Well, and you know,
hunger and poverty.
Yeah.
And I'd make the world a better place and everybody happy, so that nobody has to kill each other.
You know, I'd get myself a Black & Decker workmate.
Oh, would you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always wanted one.
Talking about horror? Have you really?
Always wanted one. Yeah.
You need God for that. You need God for that, James.
No, just say if I was, that's what I would do. I would organise myself a Black & Decker workmate because I always wanted one. So
humble.
There you go.
That is just
there you go. Right. Okay. Next question. Who or what is the crappiest horror or supernatural being in your opinion?
The crappiest, I don't want to be controversial, really.
Go on, go for it.
Well, I actually don't like zombies.
Yeah, I was about to say zombies because they just shamble about a bit, you know.
Yeah. This whole undead thing, no, it just doesn't do it for me. My inner cynic comes out before any kind of fear, just like, oh, get over it, I don't know. But
it's been done to death as well. I think that's the other thing. I mean, zombies have just been... People are still churning out zombie stories. It's just like I'm with you. I'm all zombied out, to be honest.
Right. And you can be the thing. You can go anywhere with it. That's why they keep people keep you start with the basic premise. Here's a zombie, and you can do anything you like with it. You turn it into a western, romance, sci-fi. You can go anywhere with it. Crime, anything you like.
And they do. I think it's just been a little bit tired now, I think. A little bit tired. Yeah, so next question. If it was legal to do so, would you eat human flesh?
Oh, isn't it legal?
It might not here. It's not. It might be in Australia. Nobody told me it was illegal. What?
Yeah, probably own.
I'll take that as a yes then. Okay, who is your most favourite member of the British royal family? And of course, bearing in mind you've got to watch what you say because you're still a colony.
Okay, all right, dead or alive?
Either one.
Because I like Victoria at the moment.
Yeah.
Only because I'm watching that show about the drama, and I've just taken I quite like Albert. I think they were quite nice. Well, according to the telly,
Of course, if it's on the telly, it's true. It's got to be true if it's on the telly. My goodness.
Yes, and I thought she's a dog lover. I mean, okay, she had an empire. I don't like empires, but what to do?
We're British. I still pine for the British Empire. Things were a lot better when we owned everything, in my opinion. They would never have had Donald. They would never had Donald Trump in charge if England was still in charge.
Don't get me started, James. We need a whole other episode, and nobody will listen to it because everyone's heard it.
Okay, moving swiftly along. Which franchise is your favourite? Halloween, Friday the 13th, Elm Street, Hellraiser, or Saw?
Saw.
You like Saw?
Yes.
Why?
I think so. I don't know. Because it was the last one you said, and I've forgotten all the others.
Okay, that's a good answer. A final question. What is your least favourite part of the writing process?
The least favourite part? Oh, dear. Well, I think proofreading is awful. I detest it. I think every other part of the writing process I absolutely adore. From the moment of first conception, coming up with, elements of the plot, first sentence, first chapter, getting a first draft, editing the whole thing, love it, all of it. But when it comes to proofreading, it's just like, you just know the problem with it is, you know you're going to miss something.
Yeah.
You know, every time you read it, you just know, you're going to miss something. Whether it's a comma or a full stop, a missing letter, a word that shouldn't be there.
No matter how many times you go through it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. And there should be machines for this. I mean, there
are people who do. I mean, there's people sort of rely on things like Grammarly and what have you, which try and suck out all the creativity. But there are people who will sit and proofread and pull out. And I've done it. I with my novel. I remember with Pede, I must have read it a dozen times and handed it over to my publisher, and of course it came back with 3 errors on the first page. It's soul destroying. But your brain just you've read it that many times, your brain just skips through it. Your brain fixes it, but you don't. Right, the last this one's for Xtina. The last question, bonus question. Which is your preference, baseball or stamp collecting?
Stamp collecting.
Yay! That's mine. That's my favourite. Yeah. Baseball is so tedious, and I've sat through cricket matches. I mean, you British stroke Australian, you know about cricket and how incomprehensible that. But baseball is just so dull. It just really hit the ball and run already. But it's just But I don't get it. But
and hitting the ball. I've played softball at school growing up as a kid, and I found that hard. Hard to hit the ball, and baseball is even harder because the ball's smaller and whatnot. So you've got to hit the ball. I mean, that's the basic premise, and I failed.
I mean, it's what we used to. I mean, again, you grew up in England. We used to call it rounders where I was born. And it was we used to play that in school, and I used to enjoy a game of rounders actually. But baseball is just all very odd, really. Out of the I'm a basketball. I can watch basketball apart from all the timeouts and whatnot. It's like football. American football.
Yes.
It's just the game can be 3 hours long, at least with soccer, as they call it here, or football, as where I'm from, or we're from. It's 90 minutes. Okay, there's the chance of extra time, etc. But it's not 3 hours. All these stoppages and doing this. Just get on with the damn game, will you? They just drag everything out. Painful. That's what it's painful. Painful. Anywho, so we're nearly out of time. I'm having such a good time here. I usually rely on Xtina, so I'm just waffling on. So before we go, Isobel, now's your time. Give yourself a big old plug and tell our listener where we can find you.
Well, you can find me. Thank you, James. You can find me. My name is Isobel Blackthorn. .com, my website. You can join my mailing list from there if you want to stay in touch. That's absolutely the best way to keep in touch with any author is to join their mailing list. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's just my name, Isobel with an O. How's that?
That's good. And no E on the end.
No, no E on the no. Just a thorn. Blackthorn with no E, and it's Isobel.
There you go. Because I know when I first met you or first got to know you, I was looking for you with an E.
Well, that's no good.
Well, I know that now. I know that now. But, lessons learned the hard way. But anyway, Isobel, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward to getting to meet you next month. You're coming over to the States on a bit of a whirlwind tour, which will be fantastic, so we can we can have tacos or something, whatever it is. There's a lot of Tex-Mex here. You'll be pleased to hear. So it'll be tacos.
Wonderful.
Pretty much.
Oh,
so there you go.
I can cope with that. And I'm very much looking forward to meeting you too, James, and visiting Houston, visiting Texas, big state, and yeah.
It is big. It's not like Yorkshire. You can't go from one side to the other in 50 minutes. It's big. It is a big place. But looking forward to seeing you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So. On that jolly note, I'm going to say goodnight and thank you so much for joining me and Xtina. I'd like to think she's with us in spirit. God bless her. She will hopefully be back next week. But on that note, I'm going to say goodnight and thank you so much for joining us, Isobel.
Thank you very much, James. I've loved it.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.